Welcome to Zimpaper's television network ZTN. This is Diplomatic Passport and I'm Robert Mkundiwa. Now this show brings you daily COVID-19 updates from the globe, the region and of course Zimbabwe. Answering those questions that matter the most to you, our valued viewers. Now first today on Friday last week, big-time strategic group run by businessman and philanthropist Justice Peace Maphosa and headquartered in Pretoria, South Africa, funded the hire of buses, travelers' food for people who wanted to return home to Zimbabwe from South Africa. He also provided personal protective equipment, PPEs, to the returnees while in quarantine. Of course, we got video from South Africa where the buses left with some of the 400 returnees expressing their gratitude for the help that they got.
Some of our nationals are facing, following the proclamation of this state of national disaster and the lockdown measures that have been implemented, which have entailed us staying at home and not being able to go out and doing our normal economic activities. And this has led to loss of incomes for a lot of people, and they can no longer sustain their stay here in South Africa. So they have requested or indicated that they would wish to go back home, and the embassy, working with a big-time strategic group, has been able to put together some resources to enable us to support their return home.
Grateful that we've been given this opportunity to go back home, and we thank the government and the business people for letting us go back home.
Ndikunzwa kufara kuti muri yese yeZimbabwe ngatiende kumusha, ndikunzwa kufara ndikungobatsirwa tichienda kumusha for free. Saka wehama vari mukati umu ngatibude tiende kumusha.
Now the returnees are back in Zimbabwe and the company has done one better. After quarantine, the returnees will be getting food hampers to help them restart their lives back home. Now, Big Time Strategic Group and its subsidiary companies have extended assistance in the form of 1,100 food parcels for the 400 people repatriated from South Africa last week and the elderly and orphans in Gwanda, southern Zimbabwe. Now, the provisions, which include mealie meal, rice, cake flour, sugar, cooking oil and beans and soap, will be distributed at the COVID-19 centers in Bulawayo and Harare tomorrow, Wednesday. The rest of the food will be distributed in Gwanda, where Big Time's CEO, Justice Maphosa, was born and raised. You could call it a beautifully explosive package because that money, believe it or not, for the trip and the food and PPEs came from money that ought to have been used for the Gwanda Gospel Festival last year, which Big Time runs every year. Now it has been channeled to an equally beautiful yet explosively heart-tugging cause. Big Time Strategic Group's spokesperson Mthokozi Sidube explained that move.
You know, in the first 4 years of the Gwanda Gospel Festival, we had fireworks, but last year a decision was taken that we would not have fireworks because we felt it would not make sense to have fireworks and yet people are hungry. So we made a decision that the money would be channeled towards buying food especially for the people of Gwanda. And we're glad that the money has come to be put to good use with the the repatriation of 400 Zimbabweans from South Africa to Zimbabwe, and also buying 1,100 food packages, partly for that group that has been repatriated, and 700 elderly people in Gwanda.
Well, there you have it, something absolutely beautiful, positive story there, because those people, of course, will really need to restart their lives back here in Zimbabwe. And what better way than to leave quarantine with at least something to put on the table. Now, yesterday, the buzz was palpable when we had Jeezy in the house, following up on his history, his quarantine, and his creative juices and creativity, and not least of all, his tiff with fellow rap artist Noble Styles when hip-hop climbed to another level. Where is Noble Styles, was the call. We have unfairly blindsided him, others thought. Now, worry not. because not only is he in the studio today, but you can also send your questions in to us in the interactive platforms, and we can also pose them to him today. Now, the most important thing that we have to note here is it's Culture Week. So we're really looking at a lot of themes to do with culture, and what better culture to talk about right now than, of course, the hip-hop culture, which has become the trending culture, interestingly, in Zimbabwe over the past at least 2 weeks or so, thanks to that. Now, welcome Noble. People were saying they wanted to see you here. People were saying, how are you talking about somebody and he's not there? He also needs a platform. Jeezy was here. He gave us his presentation and representation, and I'm glad to have you here.
Yo, King Rob, how are you? Kings and queens, everybody watching. No, shout out to you. Thanks a lot. 13, much salute. Just to be frank, having the culture here is a very big step, and now I can speak on my own terms.
Absolutely.
But the first thing was to just thank you on behalf of Zim Hip Hop. Just having us here is a blessing.
Thank you. Well, before we go on to the juice and the meat, COVID-19, there was a shutdown, and it obviously interrupted the person that you were, your creativity. You probably had work and business lined up, of course, within the realms of hip-hop and work. What have you been doing? What has lockdown been doing to you, and what are you doing alternatively?
I think as creatives, that there's a difference between musicians and artists. Artists are different kind of people. Musicians actually come through to the studio and make a certain type of melody and they sell to the people. So musicians are really gonna be affected with this. But artists is a different word. Artist is you being put in a different item. It's a challenge. So if you're an artist, if you put in a box, you come out better, because then you become the artist that you supposed to be. So to start off with myself, I did a 26-day COVID challenge where I was posting people from like 9 different items, like countries, daily. You know, in collaboration with my great people at the House of Arts and at Young Games. We managed to do this for 26 days because the first thing was get the information out there before we even get back to the art. Okay. That's how artists, to me, are supposed to be.
And what platforms were you posting this on?
On every of my social media platforms, because we put them together, I've got an organic reach of something close to 100,000.
Okay.
So if you put that in, there's other people that came through, companies I cannot name drop on a program, you're talking to nearly 1 million. Okay. Reach. That's what artists are supposed to do. Artists are supposed to look at a situation and they're supposed to be the first to know how best do we handle this and do that. And that's what I've been trying to do in my humble way. And
how did COVID-19 and the shutdown alter your everyday life or your artistic life? How did it change?
I could not move. My friends, because art is a structure that involves a lot of people, and I could not move. And when you can't move and you can't have your people move, you cannot create. You create an idea, but to implement that idea, you need everything else. So initially, the first 2 weeks, it was really like, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna pull? But the artistic mind in you then kicks in and says, you know what? You're an artist, right? So if you're not gonna find ways to do this, very legal ways, like then we knew we had to apply for this transpasses so we can move around, we can do this, the 1 meter social distancing, everything. So everything we have done is according to what needs to be done. But what we're doing most is spreading the message. That's the most important thing that artists are supposed to be doing right here. While you're doing everything you're doing, spread the message.
Spread the message. And while you're busy spreading the message and being artistic, then this happened. If some of you didn't hear this bit, well, let's start with what started this new fresh wave and this fresh culture.
I just feel like putting this classic battle verses on one joint or one resin for the couch. Let go. Panguve nesa Mr. Bini rintintina tel chaplini. Trends magazine genga rangure butkin marepa zaimba shaka zako senge mromo mnesha bini. Wotora rubbish kunge vakajga mabinda kavajga semasa dini. Oveze mumatini, rirafi nini, seskini ye pangolini. Diri ye vimushini, zimi popu pas na inine ozange bagzars na mpini. Stimas na injinish mamaini maspine mamini. Bikini skinny jino donde ndesa chicken ine utachekin molly de ini. Pa number 1 indini, satapu waka pini, nwande tinwa na bamnini. Bifne nam garwin.
And then beef started.
Yeah.
And then, but I want to go back to Jeezy actually. And then where were you when you first heard that something's dropped and your life might just be touched a bit?
I was in a position of amazing because I just did something with T-Guns that was on 60,000 an hour. You know, I was like, yo, you my brother, I'm your brother. Let's come through. Let's put Simi Hip Hop together. Let's put it in a position that it actually starts winning. Our plan, me and T-Guns, was like, let's put 10 hip hoppers on the map before the lockdown ends. By the time lockdown ends, we need 10 rappers trending.
Okay.
That was the plan.
Okay.
So you wake up, this happened on Thursday night, you wake up on Friday night, you get 6 minutes of something coming to you.
Yeah.
So initially, when people like, oh, this is happening, I'm like, okay, you know, because I'm not really phased. I'm that guy who has been doing this for 15 years. I'm not really phased. I've faced this a lot, like a lot of times. So what initially I thought is riding on the wave that's supposed to be rode on. So I was actually waiting for the second guy and the third and the fourth and the fifth.
Okay.
So I was playing this with kid gloves, you know, like, you know, I would like 10 people to get what I've just done with T-Guns, because bigger than T-Guns, bigger than me is hip-hop, is the culture.
Okay.
So that's what happened. So at that moment, I did not mind what anyone had to say about me, as long as it gets it
And
trending.
when you first heard it, when you then listened to that 6 minutes, what then? How did that change your perception and think this could be serious? When did you get to that point?
When you see, with all due respect, Elliot Mjaji running, it's fast, right? But when you Usain Bolt, you just look at it like, that's fast and it's good. You appreciate what someone is doing. You get it? And you appreciate from a position of, I know I can do this and I'm not even thinking of doing that. So when I then replied, it was more of a lyrical exercise.
Okay.
You know, the punchlines, the metaphors, you know, a guy has gone 6 minutes on me, which is great, because on that point, you can say anything to me as long as it gets you trending, because I understand what I just did last night.
Okay.
I just want everybody else to bite off it, because it's for the couch.
So that answers the why you, because sometimes if somebody wakes up all of a sudden and says something about me, I'm going to think, why me? Did you ask the why me, or did you really think it was basically what had happened the previous night?
I actually knew why me, because understand this very guy, and he's a good brother of mine, Jesus. Jesus is one of the most level-headed people you'd meet in life. Had actually thrown shots before, and I'm saying this on Ginde Challenge, that's a week before.
Okay.
It did, no, not as great, of course, because there were a couple of shots. So I actually shared it and said, kindly listen to this song.
Okay.
He threw shots at me, and I shared them. That's how much I love this culture. Even if you're gonna come for me, if it benefits hip hop, kudos to you.
And no dirty history, or no bad history, no bad blood.
Not even.
Okay.
Not even.
And yesterday, I had him here, just where you're seated, coincidentally, and he talked about how he wanted to just teach you a lesson because you're, quote, conceited, cocky, and arrogant. Do you think you are a conceited, cocky, and arrogant young man?
I'm someone who's coming from a place that 90% of the people watching here are coming from. We're the guys who are not supposed to be seated here. We're the guys who never had a chance. We're the guys that when you make it, they tell you, we're going to send you back to Mashingo. We're those guys. And this 90% of how Zim people feel. We're the guys that we're not destined to make it. So you being cocky is someone looking at you like, this was supposed to be a garden boy. How did they end up like the owner of the farm? So it's a perception. I was not supposed to be in this place where I've got 7 albums in 7 years, having choreographed and curated 8 other albums. That's 15 years since I've been here. Like 15 albums in 7 years. And we're talking about guys who do not have these albums, and they've been here all their lives, longer than me. So it comes from a position of, if he can curate 15 albums, 7 for himself and 8 for other people, right? This is not a good look for their legacy.
Do you think there's a tad bit of jealousy there?
There's envy. There's envy. I'll call it envy because Nobody saw that coming.
Okay.
They thought, this guy's not gonna make it, and I've heard that over and over. Just like now, when this started happening, I was just me, right? Going against an entire establishment.
But then you responded, and also again, for you, wherever you are, if you did not hear, let's just hear a bit of a snippet of the response. But before I talk about this, before we actually see the response, when I asked Jeezy whether he was hurt by anything you said or did, he said he wasn't hurt personally,
True.
but he thought a line that you dropped against a comedian slash hotelier slash he does a lot of things.
I get it.
Carl Nube was a bit below the belt. So let's hear a snippet of this, like 10 seconds or something.
Fresh in a box to carry out a motor no tonorera fresh in a box. Cow Joshua shut up. You're not even funny. Hate seeing kids flourish. Maybe that's why Usna Kana one and it is sick.
Yeah. So you're saying here Carl is jealous of you and perhaps of the kids, of the youth, the younger guys, because Carl, like I am, is starting to grey, and you're saying that's probably why he doesn't even have a child, and people thought that was a bit below the belt, and Jeezy felt that wasn't warranted, really, and there are people who comment on pop culture and hip hop culture. People like Plot Marco, he thought that was below the belt. There were some people who were actually sitting on the fence. People like Nigel Funde, he was sitting on the fence. He was like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes if you touch certain things and wait, somewhere you will become collateral damage. Do you feel bad that you said something like that about something so sensitive that probably could even touch on somebody else, like a spouse, rather than the person?
I'll never feel bad about being right about stuff. Do you know why? Because from where we come from, let me just break down all those people. Plot Marco has got a problem with me. Why does he have a problem with me? Because I stopped their foundation. He was trying to do an association of creatives because it was made up of people that are non-creative. You see? So they now have got this. So when I'm saying I'm fighting a system, these are the people who be like, Nobo is lost. Nobo has done this. This is what I'll be saying. Cow is one of those people. But if you look at these people, do you want creatives to be in this situation that they are 10 years from now? We don't. We want to make the change. But do you know what happens with change? When these kids start winning, their legacy is threatened. So they are out there to stop Nobo, because Nobo is the only person actually right here in hip hop opening this item, and I've got award-winning people from my hands. They don't.
Okay, so Carl wants to stop you. Plot wants to stop you, but do you think Jeezy wanted to stop you, or it was something coming from a different history rather than different from Plot and Carl, for example?
For a Carl, it's different because he's somebody who's been attacking Pokelo, somebody who's attacked Stana, somebody attacked Sewiknil, then the wife, then the kid. This is somebody who talked about Black Pearl, a female in my group, who has never talked to him, right? And Code, a name that means a kid that ran away from home, abused, married, someone was married, working with, and killed the husband. That's how derogatory it was, without confrontation. But now somebody will be like, how did you say that about Cal? I'm like, what was he saying? Did you check what this guy was saying? Unprovoked. This had nothing to do with him, but this is what I mean. It's a system of bullies coming after me.
So you're saying
because
the bully got the
bully got the match.
Okay, so you're not sorry at all. You don't
At all, I'm not. I could go on.
And if you were to run into Nelsie, for example, who is in the culture of work and meeting with us, and I do know as a person and as a personality, very down to earth, very laid back, wonderful woman. How would you rate? Because you've got.
She's an amazing woman, and thanks to Carl for just blessing us with that, man. She's an amazing woman. That was me and Carl. That had nothing to do with her, because Carl handled my Nelsie, and I did not. And I don't mean that I'm married to this very female. He handled the female in my group. And it's my job.
You touched the female in your life.
In my life, I actually touched him.
Okay.
You get it? Not the item.
Not directly.
No,
okay.
not. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay. And now I'm looking at something else that Jeezy said. He said the battle. People had started dangling bag. let's do this, and you were up for it. You're like, let's have this battle and let's see who wins this battle. And then he turned it down, but he gave me a reason yesterday. He said it seemed you were always more informed of what was being planned by the planners than he did. So he felt like they were blindsiding him, they were worked up against him, and you were conspiring against him because technically, if you're going to write an exam and you already know what's in it, and he doesn't, he was feeling a little hard done by. That's why he didn't do it. Why do you think he didn't go for the battle? And would you still want him to reconsider?
From his side, Sana's item, he said that then he's a bar-to-bar guy on track, and Noble was going to win this hands down. That's Sana, that's Begotten Son from his side. That's the tweet he says on public forum. From his side, I understand too. From my side, I would then say it's different ways to approach the culture. You would think that, you know, I'm here, and why does this guy know this and items? Because I actually care about the culture more than myself. I would make sure that there is money for both him, me, and everything. If he has got people from his side willing to bring in money, that's how much of love I have for the culture. And it was gonna be bigger, and it's gonna be, because I believe this is gonna happen.
Okay.
You get it?
And he talked, of course, about contractual things that, you know, if somebody promises something 250 and whatever, we've seen this happen in the culture, that somebody says, oh, I've just bought this album, give for this amount,
and it doesn't come.
And it doesn't come.
And
so
it's true.
What do you think that was valid?
What is very needed is just like, this would not even happen if a 6-second call happened, like, yo, no, but I'm not comfortable with what you say. Just the same way right now. But now, by the time these things happen, they started happening on Facebook. So when you say, I'm handling these things on Facebook, these things are happening on
So you're saying if
the call
nonsense happens on Facebook,
it's just
then if the call happens on Facebook, you should take it because that's where you started the tiff.
I can't call him.
Okay.
He can't call me because I'm not the guy
who's
dangling the item.
Okay.
So the guy.
But you do know he's probably right that at least if you had something written down, it was more concrete if you're going to follow up on the money.
You can write anything down without consulting someone. We have to ever sit down. Then they tell you, like, you know what, what's up, Noble? I'm like, what's up, Jeezy? Then they say, let's move it to this level. And we're like, okay, fine. Then we come through and say, yo, we got something here.
Okay.
So I was just looking at my vision, like vision-wise, I just want this for hip-hop.
Okay.
That was a personal feel.
Jeezy says he's moved on. I think he says he's said everything he wanted to say, and he's dropped the mic. Have you dropped the mic? Do you think this needs to go beyond this in terms of course, dropping these hits, or do you think it should move to another phase, just the battle, but you're done speaking to each other in the
Jesus is my brother, fam. That's one thing I want to tell Zimbabwe. Jesus is my brother. Jesus is one of the most level-headed people you would get. That's why even in my first reply, I was very, like calculated and stuff. Like, nah, that's a good brother and stuff. I woke up to 6 minutes of me being talked about. Yeah. You get it? I was not even willing to go that route. So I then went on it on the second so that everybody gets a bit appeal. Like, no, if you want to go this route, it's going to be this route. On the third, I then said, you know what, we got something happening here. And Jesus is a hustler. Like, he understands money, he understands numbers. So he's like, you know what, if he's given the right item, he'll be like, no, let's do this. The couch is bigger than us. So we in that sphere where he then looks at it like, okay, mistakenly or whatever, we got here. So what do we have to do about this as hip-hop? That's why I respect him on that level.
Perfect. Now, he said he wanted to teach you a lesson in respect. Are you, did you pick up on the lines of respect? Are you now a respectful person?
That was not even the case with me, because I body bag all those guys, and I'll tell you and I swear, my gogo is actually sick right now. I'm just coming from seeing it, right? And no pika na gogo. I body bag homies for nothing. You get it? I'm just calculative of the culture. Now I have to consider me and the culture. Like, I would be weak on the first one so that we've got an issue for the culture. But then if you push me a bit more, I show you on C10, like, trust me, I will do this.
Yeah, C10 got rave reviews. But do you think overall, you won a certain battle here and there? There were battles, but the war, did you win the war?
We here. That means hip-hop won the war. The culture was supposed to win the war. When we start saying Noble won, the Jeezy won or whatever, it would be a bit detrimental, because then we're not going to move to where the culture actually has to win. The culture has to win when money comes into the culture. Studios are built of what I've created with Jeezy. It's a mutual respect type of thing. We still going with this, but it's not a back and forth now on you did that, you did. No.
Okay.
It's now for actual hip hop.
Okay. And now I've got, just before I wrap up, I'm going to talk about, just going to go to the people here. And Marshall Nyamande thinks Jeezy is king. He thinks that twice. Of course, a lot of people are worried. Shanzi, Tasha Ngambu, Roma, Baz. And of course, we've got a lot of people who are giving us a lot of feedback with regards you and the culture, and they believe they're going to be seeing this going forward. So thank you so much for your feedback, Marshall Nyamande, Max Kuda, who thinks you're childish. I don't know why he thinks you're childish. And sound Gaingoni, really. And then, of course, there's just an explosion. You're just going to see a lot of this support there from Maynard Manyoa, Tanaka Sisimai. This really has brought the culture to the fore. And as you're saying, a lot of people are talking about the culture. But just before we wrap up, what next for hip-hop? What next for the culture? What do you think? Where do you think the next stage is?
Hip-hop can't let this go. Can't let what has happened. Because understand, most of the people talking about this have not bought a single hip-hop copy. So they'll tell you, they get the money, but they've never supported in any way. At the same time, these are the people who be like, my artist are not gonna chin. So you cannot you cannot afford to work so hard to get in this. I've got 7 albums in 7 years. I've curated 8 of them. This is 15 albums. These are facts only. 15 years, 15 albums in 7 years. I've curated. Right? You cannot get to this point and say, you know what, we're not going to get the money, because you've been crying for corporates. Corporates say, we coming through. Then as a stable, you say, we're not going to do that. And they look at you like, so what were you working for all this time? Then you ask all those people, did you buy his album? 7 of them. No, I didn't. You don't want him to get the money that he has worked for all this time, and the culture has, because part of the money, this is the plan. We built their existing studios, like Jeezy Studio in Southerton. Young Games, that's the main studio I use. If we were to donate $2,500 US to both, it would be huge. But I don't record there alone. Okay. Nobody records there alone.
So you think this would have helped the culture?
It should.
Okay. Now, I think we've really exhausted quite a lot. It's been a pleasure having you on Diplomatic Passport. Thing is, it's Culture Week. And COVID wanted to kill the culture, but evidently it failed, and that's why we said, you know what, this whole week, let's have the creatives coming through. Let's give them their platform as culture goes, and also we've been having a lot of people even asking about things like they got in touch, and it seems a new film culture as well. We've got a new film culture, we've got a new hip hop culture. So of course we're going to be bringing them in. To make sure that we breathe a lot of life in the culture. In 2 seconds, 2 words, Jeezy here, Noble Styles here. Would that happen next to Robert?
It would happen, because why wouldn't I? Because Jeezy and myself are just vessels being used by hip-hop.
Vessels being used by hip-hop. Well, what a way to end it. You asked for him. We had him here. Thank you so much, Noble, for being here.
Thank you.
And we hope to see and hear more from the hip-hop culture.
Same hip-hop players. So,
we also want to appreciate what he's also up to during lockdown, which is what we got to do today. That was the ungovernable Noble Styles. That's all we have today for you, and for your views and comments, keep them rolling to my Twitter handle @ZimRobbie, as well as my email address robinkondiwa@gmail.com. Until tomorrow, stay home, stay safe.